Yeah, I think that Delirium is going to be a pretty solid ability overall. Oh, hey, here we go. Alright, so here we are in the Kamigawa blocks. Options I would consider. Rend Flesh. I think I just take Tasumi the Dragon's Fang. You can pay 6 to exile it to bring a creature into play, and then like when that creature dies, you return the thing. So it's like infinite creatures pretty slowly. I'm going to go ahead and pick that. Things I'd like to see wheel. I mean, Kami the Hunt and Frost Wielder, Kami Ancient Law, Rend Flesh, Scuttling Death, all really good cards here. Yeah, we can talk more about this. One of the big cards we've talked about is they have the new Avacyn. She's 3 white for a 4/4 flying flash vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control are indestructible. When a non-angel creature you control dies, transform her at the beginning of the next upkeep. So her ability to put indestructible is at odds with flashing her and flipping her. It's really hard unless you have a sacrifice outlet or they're giving minus abilities. So like usually you'll end up protecting your creatures. Yep, let's go to the next one and we'll go back to this in a second. Alright, so I could take... Okay, so we have good options here too. I've got Earthshaker, Top, Cage of Hands, Flame, Cutthroat, Kami. Yuya is actually really just 4. She's a 4/4 flying for 6. I think I might end up making the value pick of where's she at? Of Top. I was also really happy with Top. Like playing Top felt really good, and having just 2 colorless cards. There are a lot of really good cards here. There's good white, black, green, and red. I just want to see what's open. So I'm going to stay open with the Top, which is a partially a monetary concern, but also there's a lot of good cards in this pack, and I'm not sure which color I want to go into. I want to see which colors are open. So I'm definitely going to play Top, so I'm going to pick the Top. We're losing a little bit of power, but gaining a lot of sort of flexibility. Add to my picks. Alright, and here I've got Samurai Enforcers and Rend Flesh. I think I'm going to take my first Rend Flesh. Alright, let's finish up with the Avacyn. Alright, so interestingly, Avacyn prevents herself from flipping well. When she flips, you get a flying 6/5, and when she transforms, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. So there's 2 really cool parts going on in here. The first part is, let's say you're playing Avacyn at the top end of your beatdown deck, your mono white beatdown. Your opponent, goes for Wrath, you save your guys, awesome. Or end of turn, you put in more pressure, awesome. So it's a really good top end for that. It's a little expensive, but it is Wrath protection. It does put a lot of damage through. But if your opponent does manage to kill one of your creatures, Avacyn does that to each other creature, so she probably wipes your board, which is a weird spot to be in. Like, you're trying to protect yourself from Wrath, and your opponent... let's see. Okay, I like Order of the Sacred Bell here. We've got a blue card I don't want to play, a blue card that I'm okay playing but not really happy about, and a green card. Yeah, technically for like, well, Phoenix is pointing out that for commander reasons, Avacyn is red-white, but in the deck you play her for standard, legacy, standard and limited, she's just white. But so you're playing her as the top end. She plays well with your aggro decks, but if your opponent can kind of set up, she can also kind of blow out your aggro decks in your control deck, because that's the other place you run her is your deck that has a bunch of instants and sorceries where she'll finish the game because she's reasonably costed. Maybe there's not a better flash option, and she gets through well, and she blocks okay, and she attacks pretty well. You're probably not going to flip her. She's very hard to flip, with the exception of you running Eldrazi tokens. Okay, so here, what do we have? I've got Pupils, which I don't mind. Birdgrafter, which I like quite a bit. Curse Rowan, which is also fine. I think I'm going to take the Bergrafter. So we've got that. So I think Avacyn is definitely the first card we see here, which I think will almost assuredly see standard play. I don't think she's going to see play anywhere else. 5 mana is a lot, and she doesn't do much other than protect your creatures or be a good flash card, and neither of those things are worth 5 mana in Modern. It's interesting for the flipping, because like flipping her is not even really the best thing always. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So I like her design a lot. There's a lot of play to it. Okay, so green is definitely the color I'm supposed to be in. I can take Thousand-Legged Kami. It's expensive. Or I could take this safer Vulnerable Kami. I think I'm going to take the one of really powerful card. But I'm not sure 100% that that's where I'd want to be at. So Avacyn. Cool that she plays in almost any deck, and that she plays very different roles, whether you're control or whether you're aggro. Alright, so let me keep going down the line here. We have some more interesting cards for limited. Avacyn Missionaries, which is 3 and a white for a 3/3 human cleric. Oop. Alright, so maybe we're green-red. No, we're not, because the Pupils is the only card that I'm willing to pick here. I think I'm just going to take... That's not really that great. Maybe I could take the Healer. I don't want the Healer, which is... Alright. No, let's go ahead and take Soulless Revival. If I end up playing that, it'll be really, really good. Like, I'm not even sure I'm going to play Soulless Revival, but if I do, it'll be awesome. Alright, so now I can take the Warriors, which I probably don't really want to play that much. Or I can take the Rowan, which is good if I have heavier black. And it is a more powerful card. So I think I'm going to take the more powerful card that I might not play. But yeah, so the Missionaries are just 4 for a 3/3. That's solid. At the beginning of your end step, if it's equipped, transform it. Lunarch Inquisitors. Lunarch is the kind of people that Avacyn do and stuff. I think it's like the Pope kind of feel. And they become a 4/4, so they get Power and Toughness. When it transforms, you may exile another target creature until it leaves the battlefield. Let's go ahead and take Kami of the Hunt, because green is the openest, and we are definitely green. That's awesome. So this makes me want to play equipment. If I had one of these, so I'll usually pick this, not super high, but the floor on this card is 4 mana 3/3, which is usually okay. And your opponent kind of has to be like, oh, my best creature could really rude. All they have to do is play and equip. We haven't seen a ton of equipment that are great. We've seen there's one that's okay. Let's see, are there any more cards from here? Okay, so Gibbering Kami this late means we are definitely in the right colors. The best cards coming around are green and black. High five to me. But the fact it becomes a 4/4, steals a creature, like, it's a blowout if it gets equipped. And here we see an equipment, Shard of Broken Glass, 1 and 1 to equip, and it gets +1/+0. That is not good enough. Just by the by. But when it attacks, you put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Okay, let's see. I will take the Healer and reserve it. Phoenix is asking if they have this sort of like racist supremacy thing. It is sort of that way. One of the downsides, like, evil white is about ostracizing people that are different. And sometimes that does play out towards kind of like a racist-esque theme, although that's not quite the way that they play it there. But the other, so like werewolves are considered the other, and they're the people that they're sort of persecuting. But it's also kind of insinuated that some good people or some okay people are going to also be caught in the mix. You know, you might be just somebody that got suspected of being a werewolf, and those people got you. Wow, we are in such a good spot. All right, I will take Wear Away for my sideboard. Let's see what our next pick is. But yeah, the sort of theme of this block is something happens on Innistrad and things are getting worse, but one of the sub-themes is that Avacyn is going crazy and her followers are also like doing crazy bad things, like hunting down the wrong people. Okay, so here I have Crawling Filth, which is okay. I think I'm just going to take Torsho Umezawa. Like, he's not backbreakingly great, but my next closest pick is Crawling Filth, and a 2/2 that can attack as a 3/3 and lets me play stuff out of my graveyard, which won't normally happen too often, but, you know, it's just a fine Bushido card. Okay. We don't have a lot of snakes, but Sasuke Summons can be a good card. Takumi Bleeder, also a good card. I don't know what Saikyo Mother of Summer does. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, add that much green, and you can use it for the rest of the turn. Or I have this other one that makes a mana. Or I could just take the Beatdown Bleeder. I think I just want to take the Beatdown Bleeder. Yeah. I just want the big creature. That's odd. Yeah, Phoenix is pointing out, like, the Salem trials, and that is what it's going to be in the feeling. It's really going to have that kind of everyone's suspicious of each other and looking at that person and being like, who's the witch? Who's the werewolf? We'll see that in the stories and stuff, too. But it's also, from the story they related, it insinuated there's some sort of greater evil. So I don't know if Avacyn will be the main villain or more than one. But that's where the clues and stuff is. They're really trying to set it up well, and I think that they'll do a good job. But Avacyn Missionaries is obviously just a limited card, but it is a powerful limited card. So what do we got here? Body of Jukai, which is 9, and has Soul Shift 8. Wow. I just think I want to be lower on the curve than that, though. I really don't want a 9-drop. I think I just want another Bleeder, but I could be convinced that I want a War Club. I mean, the War Club is a little hard. It's a little unwieldy. So I think I'll just take another 3-mana 3/3. They're just so good. Alright, I could take Blessing of Leeches or Foil Blessing of Leeches. I think we're going to go ahead and reserve the 2/4. It's not super, but there's not really anything super in this pack. So overall, I think Avacyn's Missionaries is a pretty good limited card, and I hope that we have a couple more equipment a little bit better than Shard of Broken Glass. I do like how Shard puts things in your graveyard. This is a Delirium Enabler, but it's also Artifacts Matter. So hopefully we have more Equipment Matters things, like the Missionaries, that make Shard of Broken Glass play both sides. Phoenix, you are only playing Shard of Broken Glass if you want Delirium, so you have a Delirium Matters deck, or if you have an Equipment Matters deck. I don't think you would play the card otherwise, but the fact that it plays to two different things, I think Equipment will be a smaller overall Matters things, but one of the hard parts about Delirium is you've got to get up 4 different types. A creature's not too hard, you'll probably naturally have an instant, but you have to get an artifact and a sorcery, like a lot of weird stuff. And Planeswalkers are basically out of the question. But the trick is, in a lot of the controlling decks, they'll use cards that let them draw cards and discard cards, or repeatable effects, nice and slow effects. How do the aggro Delirium decks work? And the answer is going to be cards like Shard of Broken Glass. Cards that attack well. Oh, okay, here we go. Somehow I missed this. A 2-mana 2/2. I like that. I like Skullmane Baku. I think I'd rather just have the Shinobi, though. The first Shinobi is just so good. Wow, Indebted Samurai is pretty good. I've never seen that one. Alright, I'm taking another bleeder. This is a lot of bleeders, and we really would like to pick up a demon, but the fact of the matter is, like, they're 3-mana 3/3s. I can just attack with those. Yeah, Phoenix is also pointing out that the original Innistrad was very flavorful, very well-rounded. Like, many people consider one of the best sets made, and they're trying to really push in on that flavor here, and they're doing a good job. I really do feel like this sort of creeping mystery feeling. The next card we have is Tamiyo's Journal, which is 5. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate, and sacrifice 3 clues. Search your library for any card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. This could be played in Standard. We could see it as a one-of. It gives you sort of card advantage over time. Oh my good god. I'm the master of 3-drops. Which is making me not want to play the Thousand-Legged Kami. Like, I'm just going to play all of the 3-drops that ever were 3-drops. This is a weird deck. I'm like green-black beatdown, but I'm happy with it. But yeah, so Tamiyo's Journal is Standard. Probably you could see one. I don't think you'd see more than one in most of them, just because like multiple instances of Investigate are fine and they work well with Tamiyo's Journal, but it's just too much of a card that gives you too little overtime. Alright. 3 Tragedies, not too great. Call for Blood, I could run the first one of those. Or I could just run another 2-drop. Because we're green-black ninjas and ogres and stuff. A weird deck. This is a weird format. And each block you add into it makes it a little bit odder for this one. Or sorry, each set. Yeah. Alright, so in Limited, I'm going to always play the Journal. It'll be good. It'll be this card that you can play and later in the game just get you a ton of cards. Okay. So we're in an interesting position. I would take Vital Search, and I would take Crawling Filth. They do very different things. I only have one card that I really care about adding stuff with, so we'll take the first Crawling Filth for the sideboard. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll definitely put Sakeo, Mother of Stuff, in my sideboard. Okay. I'll take a second Crawling Filth. Shiny Blessing Leech. So the Crawling Filth and stuff means that I can like sideboard into a very slow deck. Not sure I want to, but for some reason I have all of the Crawling Filths in the world. Yeah, Phoenix was thinking about the Vital. I was considering it too, because it's more likely for me to end up with some cards that want to play it. But I really do think that there's a chance. Here, let's look at the sideboard real quick. You guys can't see that. Get big, sideboard. Oh my gosh. Let me click it. Let me click it. There we go. Alright. So, let's talk about this going big green-black. So, big green-black is a sideboard option for us. Like, let's say for whatever reason that fast green-black doesn't turn out well. We have a lot of good big green-black cards. We've got, you know, the Thousand-Leg Kami. We've got Mother of Summer to help get him out. Roar of Jukai to play good defense. Wear Away to get rid of good cards. And multiple Crawling Filths. So, I really like having that option more than I like just having another beatdown card. Okay. Okay. Alright. So, Raving Oni Slave is a card I'm going to hope wheels. I'm going to take the Hand of Cruelty, which is a little harder to cast, but it doesn't hurt us, and there's a lot of chances where 6 just is unfeasible. But the fact that we have 3 bleeders means that, oh, we need a demon. Yeah, we need to get some demons before we pick that card. So we're definitely taking the Hand of Cruelty here. But yeah, back to Tamiyo's Journal. That's a card that I would consider always, or not always. I would always play that in Limited unless it was an extremely aggressive deck. Alright, we've got removal. This might see some modern play, but probably not. Declaration Stone is 1 and a white. Exile target creature, and all the creatures its controller controls with the same name as that creature. That player investigates for each non-token creature exiled this way. It's not an instant. That's what I don't like about it. You can use it on your own creatures, but I wish it was an instant so you could save them, because then it would be like a 4-mana cantrip. But, yeah. Okay, where are we at? Alright, I forgot. We don't have the good sweep cards in this color. Is that card worth anything? I don't think it is. It's just Oboro. Okay, yeah, it's exactly what I think is worth money. Right? Let's make sure I'm not wrong. Yeah, they're all rares. They're all weird rares. Okay. I wish I could take the Lore Weaver. I'll probably just take the Elite. It's actually pretty solid. Yeah. I mean, I don't... Okay, is Aereo worth anything? It's worth $4, so I'm probably picking Aereo. What are we giving up to pick up Aereo? We are giving up... nothing I want to play. So I really like this pick. Part of making sure that you have plenty of value to keep playing is knowing when to pick a card worth a certain amount versus a card to help your deck. Now, if it's a $4 card, I'm basically always going to pick it. There's not really any cards that are worth anything in this set, except for things like Top. Apparently Aereo for... I have no idea why it's worth money. Oh, it shifted over here. But yeah, it is. Anyway, going back... There we go. Going back to the different cards here. Declaration of Stone is actually a card I don't like a lot. The reason it'll see play is if token strategies become popular. It's good at killing tokens, and it can kill non-tokens badly. But the fact that it can do both, because often token cards are just good at killing tokens. Okay, so Fiddle-Held Kami or Death Denied. I'm willing to try my first Death Denied. Endless Swarm. I'm not sure. Wait, what is this? Suratami Cloud Share. Oh, it's 5 mana. Well then, I don't think I want that. I've got another 4-drop that I probably won't play. Let's take the card that's really powerful that, like, maybe if I sideboard in, I'll want just 7 1/1s every turn. I don't know. I'm not playing any of these other cards, so I might as well take a card that I might play. 4 for a 4/4. I like that. 2 for a 1/1 that regenerates. I don't like that. Yeah, let's take the 4-mana 4/4. Wait, I think Footsteps of Goryo is actually worth something. It's worth 50 cents. Okay, well, that's not worth picking at that point. So let's make sure that there's nothing else that I'd want. Rending Vines. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. If it's converted mana constantly equal number of cards you have in hand, draw a card. That is not very good. I think I'm just going to take a 50-cent card that I'm not going to play over a bunch of other cards that I'm definitely not going to play. Creatures with flying can only block creatures with flying. Let's take a 3-drop that I'm not going to play. Alright, the picks are getting real slim here. Soul Shift 1 is useless. I can pump it to kill something. Or I can take a card that's okay in the long, long, long game. Okay. So I can take another 4-mana card. Take a card that will slowly win me the game. I can return a bunch of swamps to make my opponent discard a bunch of cards. Let's take this one to our sideboard. Let's get another bad creature that is small. I don't know if I actually need another bad creature that's small, but I really don't need a 5-mana card that's a 3/2. So, yeah. And we have a deck right here. Oh, no, we don't. We are one playable short of what I'd like. Well, I guess we're not really. I can run this Death Mask Nezumi. Oh, no, I can run Death Denied. That's much better. That's a fun card. I don't want it, but it's a fun card. Trace of Damnations. Alright. The whole mechanic of having more cards in hand than your opponent and trying to make the most out of limited resources is just like really not a fun ability. Like, it makes top decks so bad. It's like, oh, don't play out your hand. Like, don't play out my hand. I'm gonna get a bunch of like meh abilities for not playing any cards. Like, that does not sound good. Alright, so green black was definitely where we wanted to be, which was nice. You know, like, we had plenty of options. Let's look at what we have listed right now and see where we want to go. I mean, I could see us running one more creature, except I don't have one more creature. Someone took that 2-mana 3/3, which I don't necessarily know if is a great choice. I mean, let's look at the cards that we play if we're kind of slowing the game down. Okay, so Footsteps of the Grave just lets us activate creatures with Soul Shift or Haste. Okay, well, whatever. I can put that in my main deck. And I can save creatures I don't want to save. Alright. Okay, so we have 9 cards to bring in to slow down the deck when we want to. What does that deck look like? Let's just run the really nice ones first. It just makes my deck look really heavy. It makes all these bleeders much worse. I mean, I get a buyback like Commies, Bird Rafters, all sorts of stuff like that, which is cool. But on the other hand, like, I just don't care that much about playing a bunch of high drops. I think I just want to run this. Alright, let's see what they suggest. No, 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 no. 9-8. Nah, 10-7's right with these double blacks. I only have one double green card. That looks good. Makes my cursed runs pretty solid. I'm digging that. Go ahead and submit. Alright, and we can finish up going through these cards. See if there's anything else particularly like. So, Declaration of Stone, as far as standard, maybe modern goes, it is a flexible way to get rid of tokens. That's its real purpose. In limited, you'll always play it because it gets rid of their bomb, but it gives them a card. So it's a very real cost. Alright. It also gets rid of, like, copy effects from, like, weird cards. They don't just have to be tokens of regular tokens. Like, if your opponent somehow gets a copy of a real card, and one's a token, one's not, it removes both, and they get a card back, which is fine. Anyway, Aberrant Researcher is 3 and a blue for a 3/2 flying. Put the top card of your graveyard, of your library into your graveyard at the beginning of your upkeep. If it's an instant or sorcerer, you transform it. It becomes a 5/4 flying. First of all, this is the form of Delver of Secrets. He becomes the Aberrant Researcher. They kind of, you know, he's a human insect. You can tell it's him. And he transforms again into a giant creature. So that's kind of really cool and flavorful. It's also only playable in limited because neither of those cards are good enough for constructed. But in limited, it's pretty solid. I would always pay a 4-mana 3/2. You're not happy about the clad mana, but when your clad mana sometimes turns into a 5/4, you're very happy about your clad mana. So it's a pretty solid one there. Oh, hey, let's talk about a card that is playable in lots of places with Relentless Dead. Black for a 2/2 zombie. Mythic. When you have a 2/2 for 2 with a Mythic, it's going to have some sweet abilities. Let's just be steady here. It has Menace, so it's a good aggressive creature. When it dies, you may play black. If you do, return it to your hand. It's resilient. When it dies, you may pay X. If you do, return another target zombie creature with converted mana cost X from the graveyard to the battlefield. So it builds card advantage. Now, at first blush, this is an extremely good aggressive card, and it is. And the fact that you can just play this and attack, and play this and attack, and it can pull up other zombies later, gives you a lot of reach, and it pushes really hard. But it's also good in a defensive deck. It doesn't say it can't block. So that means on turn 3 in your black control deck, you can play this, you can block with it, you can pay a black, return it to your hand, and do it again. It's not the best thing in the whole world, but it buys you a lot of time, and 2/2s do trade with a lot of other cards. I'm fairly certain it'll see play in Standard. It may or may not see play in Modern. We may be getting to the point where there's enough good black cheap zombies that zombie aggro is doable, because black does have lots of good discard and removal. Alright. Geralf's Masterpiece. 3 blue for a 7/7 flying zombie horde at Mythic. It gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand. You can play 3 and a blue, discard 3 cards, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's resilient threat. Solid and limited, obviously, but in Standard it may see some play, but I really don't think it's going to get there for any of the other formats, and I'm not even sure it's going to get there for Standard. 3 is a lot, and it's hard to have multiple Madness cards in hand. Like, it's hard to make this card work, and if we see a significant amount of exile, it's just too risky as well. Interestingly, this creature, when you look at it compared to Grizzlebrand, it looks the same, like that, you know, Giraffe tried to put back together Grizzlebrand, which is kind of cool. And flavorful, which is something we've seen a lot. Flavor. And interesting mechanics. Alright. Let's check to see where we're at. Ooh, our round's starting. Yes, I would like to play first, because I'm a beat down dead. And I would like to keep. Alright, let's start with a swamp. And F8. Nope. Alright. So we're hoping just to play our 3/3 into our... Yeah. I mean, Deathmatch Nizumi for us is basically always just going to be a 2/2. I'm probably never going to have enough stuff to put it active. If you are playing Size Hand Matters, you do want to draw, by the way, just because that extra card means a lot. New plan. I can play the Kami of the Unt and attack. And that's my opponent can skip their land drop and keep back a 4 through to first strike. But the problem is they're just going to lose if they do that. Marquee Peach, all sets are now just 2-set blocks for the foreseeable future. So yes, the new way Standard works is that there's 6 sets in, and then when the 7th set would come in, the old 2 blocks rotate out, so it goes 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. By having a smaller Standard, the idea is that they can print more powerful cards, because with a smaller card pool, you don't have to worry about as many. Okay, sure, that was a cool play on their part. They got to draw a card, etc. Yeah. Let's go ahead and play this. It adds mana. Blocks the ninja pretty well. So I like that play. And it sets us up if we draw a land to be able to play 2 cards. But if we don't draw a land, we can just play the Gibbering Kami or the Burrhead Grafter, depending on what they come down with. One spot I don't like the ninja cards in is really, really early, and the reason is it sets you kind of back on tempo. Okay, Mystic Restraints. Gonna let them draw another card, which I think is really good for them. Like, they are in a really nice position now. With the second attack of the ninja, the Deep Hours, it's really paid off. So then that makes me want to play the Bleeder because it blocks the ninja well. And they'll need another removal spell, which they might have. They've been drawing quite a few cards. Always yield. Come on, land. Alright, we can leave the green up. We can attack with a 4/4, Soul Shift 3. Then we can sacrifice it at any time. Like, the fact that you can just not pay the green to Soul Shift is actually kind of a benefit. Like, it's not strictly an upgrade in all ways, but I think you would rather have that ability than have another negligible downside or a harder casting cost often. Unfortunately, we don't have any creatures with, or any spirits with converted mana cost 3 or less there, but that's where we're at right now. Oh, our opponent got an Oboro. Good for them. It's a nice little pricey land. So now we've kind of put them in a spot where it's harder for them to attack. Unless they have another spell to get rid of the Kami, which would be great for them. You know, they get to keep drawing cards and stuff, but... Mystic Restraints on this guy is not the best thing. It just turns him into a permanent land. Yep. Wow. Oh. I did those backward, but sure. Alright, so I can attack with my 4/4. And then Shinobi in this to take out 2 of their cards. Or I can play Bird Raptor. Let's attack first. So I have 4 mana. Yeah, I definitely don't want to put that in yet. I'd much rather play this. Alright. And we've represented the green multiple turns, which represents several combat tricks. Maybe our opponent misclicked and I meant to attack with the ninja, because if you're not... Well, we had the 4/4 up. Oh, that's cool. If it was dealt 4 more damage, it deals 3 target creature. I haven't seen that before. I knew there were some weird Zubras in the later sets. Zubra's always one of those things that I never really got going, but it seemed like a really cool deck to make. Alright. And we'll pay the green. Okay, so I think now we can attack with our 3/3. And then we can ninjutsu in if we want to. Yeah, I like that. Because now they don't really have any great blocks. Like, they can trade here, which is fine with me, but they don't get anything great. And if they don't declare a blocker, I'm thinking about Okiba ganging. Yeah. Now they can return the Oboro and discard the Oboro, which is probably what I would do. Which is an interesting spot. You can just tap the Oboro and return it. They opted not to. Interesting cards. Ideas Unbound's a tricky card to play. I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of running it, because it puts you down a card unless you're low on cards, but it can be very nice late. Alright, at this point we just want to get on as many creatures as we can. Destroy target non-spirit creature. Well, that's interesting. Although I don't think it's particularly important. Yeah. I think we just play the Bird Rafter and have it represent... We needed more creatures with... spirit creatures with cost 3 or 2. That would have been really nice. Anyway, we're just going to attack with the Ninja. I'm happy with it trading with any of these cards. If for some reason I decide I don't want to, I can sacrifice the Bird Rafter to trade with one of these cards instead. Yeah. So I traded the Bird Rafter instead of the Underling. Or instead of the Ninja. Nice play on my opponent's part. I kind of forgot about Consuming Vortex. So that'll put them in a good spot. Right at this point, we just need to get things out of our hand now. I think they should be attacking with the 2/3. Yeah. Let's play the green. Hey now. All right. Let's can trade. I don't really like trading there. What do I like? 5 mana. I think I just like playing the Gibbering Kami, because that keeps back all the damage from my opponent. Because they can't afford to trade 2 for 2 when I'm at 13 and they're at 8. And my opponent could attack with Burning Eye Zubra and trade it. Like, I actually think that trading those is not a bad spot for them, because they have more creatures on board. I probably would have done it much earlier. Because I'd probably just do block the Burning Eye Zubra. Like, you know, basically just have to trade those 2 cards. Yeah. Alright. We have 6 mana now, so we can play 2 cards. And I think pass. We could have held cards back and just played the Death Mask and tried to make it big, because it would win us the game in 2 turns. But I think we're better off just playing multiple creatures with how easy it is to kill a 3 toughness creature, especially for red. This looks powerful. Well, it's only 4. Okay, so as the game goes longer, he'll be able to bounce my spells. Oh. Each player sacks a permanent. Sure. I'll just sacrifice the forest. And he'll just sacrifice another card. I mean, it gets you a counter. I guess just want to be mana efficient. Another bleeder. Let's attack with our first bleeder. Yeah. I like all of these trades except for the underling. It's fine. Then I have 5 mana. Play the Rowan. Yeah. I actually like the Rowan a lot right here. It's not as mana efficient, but it basically gets to pack in very easily. Alright, my opponent... I mean, the other thing about this format, it's so slow. We're in game 1, and like we're both almost to 15 minutes. I'm going to need to play a little faster. So let's think about our next turn. Next turn, I want to swing with the Rowan. Pumping it once stops either of these cards. And if so he doesn't really have any good blocks to stop the Rowan. And as long as we have 3 mana, we can play the Rindflesh or the Bleeder. Alright. So I still don't think they have a good attack. It's interesting. Definitely take it. See if they have a ninjutsu. No. They have a different flyer? No. They have some way to deal 10 damage exactly? There is a card that does that in this format. I also like this because we can Rindflesh with Soulless Revival, get our creature back. Alright, these can trade. You'll take 2. Play a Bleeder and represent the green. We've been representing the whole game. Okay, so what's my opponent doing next turn? They're swinging for 2 more flying, trading 2 and 2 more. That's not going to work out well. They lost their big creatures. Now we can attack with multiple creatures. Okay, they have a spell. Ire of Kami. Arcane cards in the graveyard. I guess they only had 3, 1... They only had 3, so yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we can attack and keep up Rindflesh Soulless Revival. Assuming we don't draw something better here. We did not. So So that means we can attack with our 4/4. And hope that they don't have a combat trick. We do poorly against combat tricks and well against double blocks. Okay. Cast and splice additional spells. I think at this point we get back the Cursed Ruin. We play black. Press OK. Okay. I think that's done. I'm going to kill a creature, get a creature back, and kill another creature. So we spent 1 spell, and we should be getting 3 effects. Yeah, we did it! Alright. So Splice is good. We're still representing our combat trick. Our opponent probably doesn't think we have it, because we don't. We haven't made the block of Gibber and Kami pumping our guy to kill the shimmering glass kite. But alright. So next turn, okay. They just gave up, which, you know, they only have 15 minutes left, so. Do we want Wear Away for their one thing? Probably not. They look to have a pretty low curve, so I don't really want to bring in the big stuff. I think I'm just going to run it back. Is there any reason I want to run another lower cost card? Not really. I actually really liked how that turned out. Yeah, let's just run it back. So, back on the note of the cards that have been played, Incorrigible Youth is 3 red for a 4/3 haste with Madness, 2 in a red. Now this looks like a really, really good limited card, and it is. But it also might be good enough to be standard playable, and we can see one of the sort of ideas there is 1 in a black for a 2/1 vampire, discard a card, transform it, becomes a 3/2 flying. In standard, you can easily have a curve where it's 2 mana, 2/1, and then turn 3, you're attacking for 7 with haste and flying. That's very powerful. And it's also not particularly hard to do. There'll probably be better Madness cards than Incorrigible Youths, and there'll probably be better enablers than Air Falconroth. So there might be an extremely aggressive black-red vampire deck. And limited, both these cards are playable on their own. I like both of them. 2 mana, 2/1 is fine. Sometimes later in the game you discard a card that you don't want, like a land. Becomes a 3/2. Or you have Madness cards to take advantage of it, and it becomes a 3/2. I don't think that the Air is a super, super high pick. I think that you want the Madness cards more than the enablers. This is a mulligan. And this is a keep. But it's a bad keep. You're going to the bottom. Alright, so we're just hoping we get there with this. Turn 3 play into turn 4 play is not the worst, but... And Death Denied is not really the card I want to start off with, but it's the card I got. We're going to obviously start with a bunch of swamps, because Cursed Ruin is a fan of them. And he grows with the swamps and their power. Alright, so our opponent's just starting off with a good curve. That's a big gain. Being able to put down the Kami of the Tinted Grove. I'll probably play the Cursed Ruin first, depending... If we draw another land, if I can play this and keep up and have 5th mana, then I'll probably play the Kami first. But if I don't draw any more lands, I'll definitely play the Cursed Ruin first, just because then we'll be able to use up the black mana. Okay. I like this quite a bit. Having a low curve paid off. I got a bunch of low drops. Alright. If they attack, we will do the trade. If they have something to do with it, obviously. They're not going to just waste their creature away. But I'm fine trading the Bleeder for any card in their hand, just because we have so many low cards. And oh, not the Exile Zone. That's the only zone I don't like. Alright, we'll probably play the Death Mask here. Changed my mind. Playing the elite. Yeah. Now, this is just a 3-mana 2/3 that taps on their stuff, but you know, we can pull in our Snake Mother and have a protected snake. It is a possibility. In our snake control deck. Snake control deck. I don't think we're actually going to be doing that. At least not this match. Oh. That's one of the better guys. I actually like the Spellblade quite a bit. You don't need that many cards to make him really good. Okay. This gets bigger. Really don't have a way to block him. But we can attack back if they attack with big creatures. So I think now is the time to play Order of the Sacred Bell. And as we get more swamps, we'll consider the Ruin a little bit more. I think I'm going to play the Kami next. I just want to have a lot of big creatures out to keep back his Spellblade so that eventually if I draw removal or some way to get down, that I can just attack through it. Well, let's see. When a creep... Okay. Gets +3/+1. Yep. Yep. That's a problem. It's a 5/4 that has Bushido 1. Now, this might be a weird reason to pull in so Artifact and Enchantment Hate, because when it's put in the graveyard, you have to get rid of the creature. So, this is pretty powerful. I don't think they should attack, though. Wow! That's an aggressive attack. We could double block, it would be a 6. Trade for both of our cards. I'm not okay with that, but I am okay with returning 6 for 5. Okay, let's attack first. Alright, we'll play the Death Mask here because it's the card that's least important to me, that I least want to keep. And it trades with the Underling, but also it blocks the Spellblade well. I could have played the Bleeder. So we could be in a bad spot if our opponent activates. Okay, that's not a big deal. At this point, I might consider just double blocking and trading off our boards. I have so many more cards than my opponent. And with Death Denied, I think things will go better the longer the game goes. Yeah. Alright. So we'll play the Cursed Run and give them the opportunity to kill it, which is fine. And then we'll play out our hand, and I mean, our opponent's not going to attack, but we'll play the Bleeder. Actually, we'll probably play the Kami and then the Bleeder. Oh, that's cool. Kind of lets you kill something for 1. I like that. That is a big reason to play the creatures after combat. I did not know about Into the Fray. A little bit situational, but if my opponent can keep those chained together, they'll be in a great spot. Alright, so I can trade my board for the Spellblade, which seems bad until you realize I can get my board back with Death Denied pretty quick too. So it's not terrible. but also them attacking lets us attack back for quite a bit. Okay, this is the last card of our opponent's hand. Alright. Yeah, we'll take the 5. We don't need to chump here. Alright, well all we do have to do is empty our hand out now. Alright, so we have way better top decks now. We've got our opponent in a position where we have a lot of power for manipulating draws. They do not. The number of blockers we need to leave back is 5. These are the 2 I'd want to block with to have them die. So let's hold back here. That way, if our opponent attacks with both creatures, we can kill both of them and be left with a creature. It'll be at 5 life, so they're on drawing cards, and we are controlling our drop tap, or we're controlling our draw step. They are not. Or you know, if we draw a land later on, we can just Death Denied for 2 and get back 2 4-mana cards, which is powerful as well. Seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So let's go ahead and wait. Okay, so we do have a problem. I forgot about Oathkeeper's other ability, which basically means that they can attack into it multiple times. So yeah. Let's block here. Okay. Gets bigger. Doesn't untap. We are going to be in a rough spot, though, because our opponent has the Oathkeeper. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Because they don't have Trample. So basically, we just traded some mana for nothing. Okay. I can't replay that, which is a problem. But I can play my Kami. Yeah, let's just play the Kami and pass. We're in a rough spot there. Alright, let's go ahead. Attack with our 3/3. Opponent gets to decide if they want to block. They probably don't. We chump block. We try to get out other chump blockers. And hopefully we're going to string chump blockers together while swinging for more damage that they can afford to not block. Alright. Trample would be the problem for us, but I don't think that there's too many cards our opponent's probably running Trample. That said, they are running Crack the Sky and Into the Fray, so they're running some sort of like Arcane Matters deck. Okay. Begin combat. We have to attack with both because they're going to put the +3/+1 on the Mumbo. And I think we're actually going to lose. See if we draw what we need to draw. Oh, I do not think we did. But we'll put out the jump blocker and see if they go for the win. Because if we have something, we do kill them if they go for the win, which is the nice part. But I think we're going to lose to a 5/2 flyer. Yep. So they have 2 cards I want to get rid of, but only one that I really want to get rid of. But I think I'm going to pull in the Wear Away. What are we dropping for a Wear Away? I could see us dropping a Curse Rowan. I like Death Denied with how many creatures of ours trade. Yeah. I would like to play first. Would like to keep a good hand. Maybe I should have started with a green, but I can't think of too many spots where I'm going to want to immediately Wear Away. And, very importantly, I can splice Soulless Revival onto Wear Away later in the game. Alright, let's start hitting for 2. Okay, so we're really hoping to get something a little bit more beefy. We have a lot of cards that we can play, though. Yeah, let's go ahead and trade. I'm actually happy with trading here, just because later on we can, I mean, it's at 5 mana for Soulless Revival and that kind of stuff, but trading does seem to favor us right now. We have a lot of ways to make the game go longer. We have a lot of good draws. Right, and starting next turn, like, I can Rend Flesh and Soulless Revival my 2-1, which isn't great, but every little bit counts. Or if we draw another green, I can, you know, Wear Away and Soulless Revival together, or all sorts of different combos. It's aggressive. Alright, we're hoping to draw another creature here. That's good. I think we're going to kill and splice this turn. Yeah, because that keeps us equal on the race, and it gets us more cards to play next turn. And we'll do that after combat in case they play something better. Because 2 damage is definitely worth seeing. whatever their best creature is. Well, do this now. Okay, we don't want to let the Kami come down because then he can sacrifice the Kami to get rid of other stuff. And it's not a huge blowout either way, but I prefer to do it this way, and I can make that decision, not my opponent. So I don't know what they have in hands. Maybe it's better for them to do it the other way. And we waited until after damage because they played a Spellblade or something, and much rather be able to kill that. And now we have 5 mana, so... Oh. Yeah. Crack the Earth is just not a great card. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. And we'll play the Deathmax and Azumi. And, actually, we'll play the Skull Snatcher so we can top next turn. Because it does just as good a job fighting against the Tommy, and I'd much rather be able to decide what's on the top of my deck than to do anything else. If they attack, we'll make this trade. And if they don't attack, we'll attack into it. Okay, so that's a downside. Okay, we have 4 mana, and I would like to have Order of the Sacred Bell. So 1, 2, 3. So our opponent can attack us for, oh, only 2. I would have attacked with both. Our opponent also has to speed up their play. 4 minutes is plenty of time to finish a game. But if you're always playing slow, it is not going to finish the game quick enough. Alright. With that in mind, yeah, I'm still going to play the Order. It's a much harder card to answer. This is the card I was worried about. Yeah. And then playing a string of cards definitely will put us in a position to die. Alright. We attack for 3. It puts us to 4. And 2 turns. Yeah, it's worth it though. Just because we don't have a way to kill the Glass Kite. Yeah, the wear-away unfortunately wasn't as good as I'd hoped it'd be. We just didn't see any of the targets for it. That is always the danger to sideboard cards. Oh, we saw it now. Unfortunately, we didn't have the lands to do anything about it. Alright. Looks like we're living with the continual pushing of us having cool decks that don't quite make it. Alright, guys. I guess we can wrap up a few more of these cards, and then we'll be out for the day, and I'm going to try to get some leagues in tomorrow and finish up with our league deck. I'm just going to go through here and show out any card that's particularly interesting at this point, or particularly important, like Bygone Bishop. It's 2 and a white for 2/3 flying Spirit Cleric, and whenever you cast a creature with converted mana cost 3 or less, investigate. So it's a slow drawing effect that's repeatable. I think this is a kind of card that's good enough for Standard. I don't think it's good enough for Modern, just unless there's a use for clues other than paying 2 to draw a card. Paying 2 to draw a card is not good enough for that. But if there's some sort of card that can utilize clues effectively, maybe you could see that. Brain in the Jar is kind of cool. It's 2 colorless for an artifact. You can pay 1 and put a charge counter on it, and then you can cast an instant or sorcery card equal to the converted mana cost and charge counters on it without paying its mana cost, so like Aether Vial. And you can pay 3 and tap it to remove X charge counters from it, scry X. So it lets you move up and down the counters and play stuff. I don't think it's particularly great in anything, but I think it's really cool, and I think it's the kind of card that you're going to build decks around. And like if someone has an EDH, is it, you know, Firemind based deck, this is the kind of card you could put in there. That said, playing stuff for free is always powerful, so, and this does let you play the cards that have no converted mana cost. But the problem is you put a charge counter on it and then you cast it. So you have to somehow get rid of the charge counter or prevent it from having counters put on it to cast 0 cards for free. So that's the only thing that I thought was cool, but it's not really doable right now. But if you could, it would be pretty powerful. I think most of the rest of these are limited cards, which we will go into. We will talk about how good all of these limited cards are. But I don't think any of them have any Standard or Modern super importance. Fiery Temper is a card that might see some play in Standard, like, or probably will see a lot of play. I'm gonna sneeze. It's already in Modern. It doesn't see playing. Maybe there'll be enough enablers or enough madness that it'll be a good card. Like Madness might become a deck due to this block, but really I'm just not seeing anything stand out. You guys can't really see Pack Guardian. There you go. Pack Guardian is probably one of the cooler cards that you might see some Standard play. Just 4 mana, 4/3 flash. You can discard a land to make a 2/2, 2 bodies. You know, 6 power, 5 toughness across 2 bodies for 4 mana is pretty good. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. We narrowly got our butts kicked. So I'll see you guys for some League probably tomorrow, Mobius.